Hey guys, thank you for joining San Antonio Public Library's Pop Madness. My name is Miranda and I'm going to show you all how to make these neat, fun little fingerless gloves / arm warmers to stay warm while it's cold out. Here's some items we're going to need. I'm going to be using acrylic yarn, medium sized for weight, a crochet hook, 5.5 millimeters or an I9 hook. You'll also need scissors and an embroidery needle to get started on our fingerless gloves. Okay, to get started, we're going to do our slip knot. I like to make an X with my yarn. I'm going to pull through the working yarn to create a slip knot. There's several ways you can create slip knots. I just prefer the X method. It's easier for me. From here, we're going to chain 31 chains. So you're going to yarn over, pull through, and there's chain 1. Yarn over, pull through, we've got chain 2, and so on. You're going to keep yarning over, pull through your hoop that's on your hook, and you'll continue this for 31 chains. All right, now we have our 31 chains. Here we're going to start our second row. We're going to go into the second chain from the hoop, and we're going to do a single crochet into this first stitch. So you're going to yarn over, you'll have 2 hoops, yarn over again, pull through, go into the next chain, yarn over, pull through, you've got your 2 hoops, yarn over, pull through those 2 hoops, and you've got your single crochet. So you're going to do this into each stitch all the way down your yarn for the next 30 stitches. All right, so we finished row 2. We're going to get started with row 3. So before we get started in any row, we're going to make sure we end our row with chaining 1. So I'm going to yarn over and chain 1 before I turn my work around. So here we go, our chain 1, turn our work around, and then I'm going to work in the second chain from the hook, and we're going to do a single crochet into the back loop only. So instead of going under our work, we're going to make sure we go through the stitch to pick only the back hoop of that stitch up. So we'll do our single crochet, yarn over, pull through, yarn over again, pull through, and there we have it. Single crochet in the next stitch, back loop only for 30 stitches. At the end of the row, make sure you chain 1 before you turn your work around. We're going to do this for about 30 rows, or at least the width of your arm. If you need to do more, do less, that's fine, but I did about 30 rows for the width of my arm. All right, so I have my 30 rows. Now what we're going to do is we're going to slip stitch our work together to join it. So we want to make sure we line our work up nice and even so our fingerless glove comes out nice and even. So here we're going to line up. I'm going to turn my work around because I like it lining up with the tail on the outside. Okay, so we're lining the work up here and we're going to do our slip stitch. Go through that first chain, and then we're going to find the very first chain on our second row, our second part of the fingerless gloves, and then here we'll slip stitch. So what we're going to do is yarn over, and we're going to pull that yarn through the hoop that is on the hook, and that's your slip stitch. And then you'll go into each chain all the way down until you figure out where you want to put the hole for your thumb. So we'll slip stitch here, we'll go into the next chain, slip stitch until you think you're about where you want your thumb to be. So here I'm going to measure my fingerless glove to see if it's a nice spot for me to start for my thumb hole. All right, so that looks good. I think I'm going to leave about 3 to 4 stitches for the thumb hole. And so what we're going to do, we're still going to do the slip stitch, but instead of joining our work together like we were, we're only going to work on one end. So here I'm finishing up joining. I wanted about 2 stitches to join, and then I'll start the hole for the thumb. So right here, we're doing our last slip stitch to join the work, and then I'm going to start doing the slip stitch for the hole. So we're just going to work on that first row right there closest to us. So slip stitch here, right? And look, we're doing the first row. We're no longer joining our work together. So we're just going to slip stitch in the next 4 chains. All right, so slip stitch, chain 1 here. Remember, we're going to yarn over and pull through that yarn what's on your hook, and that's your slip stitch. So here's stitch 3 for the slip stitch. Go through stitch 4 for the slip stitch, and we're just working on that chain closest to us. 1 more slip stitch, and then we'll finish off the last 3 chains joining the work together, and that'll be our thumb hole. So we'll go into the next chain. Remember, we're going to join our work, and you're still going to do the slip stitch. So we're slip stitching to finish off. We're joining the last 3 stitches here. Slip stitch, yarn over, pull through, go into the next chain, join the work, slip stitch, pull through, and here's our last chain. I'm going to push through both ends, yarn over, and slip stitch to join. And then we're going to chain 1 to finish it off. And then I'm just going to pull my yarn through. So we're going to have our fingerless glove here. I'll try it on, make sure the fit's good. All right, we don't need to make any adjustments. Looks good. And then we can finish off by weaving in our tail. Okay, so now we need our embroidery needle. We're going to take the tail here and we're going to sew it into the end of our work just to finish the gloves off. So we're going to pick any stitch, it doesn't matter. I'm just going to come up any stitch. I'll come up maybe four or 5 stitches just to work my way up, and then I'll work my way back down another maybe 3 or 4 stitches just to kind of close it off. And it doesn't matter which direction you go, which one you choose, you won't really see it. It'll blend in, and this is just to finish the work off, and it'll be nice and secure and tight, and you don't have to worry about it unraveling. All right, so we're on our 5th stitch here, just trying to get it in so it doesn't snag and we don't have any fuzzies coming out. And I'm going to make my way back down to a couple of stitches down, and then we're going to take our scissors and we'll cut the tail off, and that'll be how we close this up. All right, 1 more stitch here to sew that in, and then I'm going to take my scissors and I'll cut that tail off. All right, nice and pretty. And then we're going to do the same thing with the tail that we started with at the beginning when we did our slip knot. So we're just going to weave that in, and that's going to make this fingerless glove finish off nice and pretty. We'll do the same thing, any stitch, doesn't matter which direction you want to go. I'm just kind of trying not to go into the same stitches so it doesn't get too bulky in one area. I'm just picking a couple of stitches and I'll go back down. The tail really doesn't matter how many you do because it's already kind of knotted right there. I'll cut that off, and then we're done. We've got our fingerless gloves. Thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoy these fingerless gloves and you stay nice and warm out there.